And so your family moved in as caretakers. You moved in 6 months before Pearl Harbor was attacked. And what happened, to recap, is that all of the Buddhist priests were taken away and sent to a Department of Justice camp, probably the one in New Mexico. And the temples were all closed. Your family was in residence, and your father, Shohei Miyasato, was actually keeping things, I guess, well, taking care of Jikoen. Now, orders were given that the temples were not to be opened and running. But you were talking about the situation that was in place was, with the temple closed, people didn't have a place to go to say farewell to someone who died, and all of the other things that the temple takes care of. So what happened in that time when the Reverend gets taken away?
Well, my father, I really have to credit him for being so religious in terms of having closure for these young men who died. He felt for the families, you know, parents crying and saying they don't have anything to feel like he's okay, you know.
So families who lost someone are coming over,
and so my father went ahead
in despair, asking,
conducted service despite the ruling, you know, that was going on. But later on, when I talked to General Emmons, he understood. So you see, sometimes it's best to go to the highest level of authority.
When you mention General Emmons, you're talking about Lieutenant General Dallas Emmons, who was the military governor of Hawaii in charge of the military, martial law.
Yeah, he was martial law, head of all of Hawaii.
So actually what you're saying then is that you and your father went to go talk to Emmons about Jikoen being closed.
But
wow.
I had to be the one who's speaking English because he couldn't.
Okay,
so he spoke in Japanese, so I had to go. Yeah.
What did he talk to Emmons about?
He said that well, he was at that time studying American history, and he wanted his citizenship. So he knew about the freedom of religion. So he spoke about that and told Emmons that, oh, how come I cannot, you know, have my service, because in America we have freedom of religion, don't we? And so then I had to repeat that in English. And I thought, wow, what is he saying, you know?
And you're 11 years old at this time.
And
you're in front of the man who is in charge of Hawaii.
Yeah, I was really surprised that I did go, you know, to think. And later I found out what his title was. But then, the higher you go, as I told you, the humbler a person is. Because when he realized that I knew the Constitution, he was really nice about it.
No other temple opened like Jikoen did.
Yeah.
You guys were the only one that had that permission. Listed as the first temple that reopened during the wartime, and it was kept open by your family, especially your father, and was performing services for soldiers, Nisei soldiers who went to war and had to and died.
Mainly for those families, they were so grief-stricken. You know, he felt so bad that they needed some closure.
But to think about, you know, your father having the courage to go to Emmons and to argue using the things he learned while he was studying to become a citizen. I mean, that's amazing.
You know, sometimes a little of knowledge goes a long way, because he wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
You know, most people would have been afraid.
But I go back to that point. Jikoen was the only temple that reopened.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was because of what you and your father did. You know, going to talk to Emmons and making that wonderful argument, and that's pretty remarkable.